Welcome to today's WordStream webinar, the 20-minute PPC Work Week. We're very excited to have you join us. My name's Callie, and I'm just here to get things started before I hand it over to our experts for the day. I want to start by getting some of the logistics out of the way so we can get straight to the fun. Following our presentation, you will receive an email with today's recording and slides so you can review them and share them with colleagues, whatever you wish. We'll also have a dedicated time for Q&A following the presentation, so be sure to submit your questions throughout the webinar and we'll get to as many as possible. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with WordStream, we are a search marketing software provider with free and paid tools to help you easily grow your AdWords and Bing campaigns. And we can help you make a big positive impact in your paid search efforts. We can help you save time, increase your ROI, and grow your business, which Tim and Sam will get into a lot more detail around. Now, we encourage you to be social throughout the presentation and join in the conversation on Twitter with the hashtag PPC20, and definitely follow us at WordStream for all the latest and greatest. Now, it's my great honor to introduce our experts today. First up, we have Tim Warner, our Director of Sales. He has over 9 years of PPC experience and is a certified AdWords professional.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming to the webinar.
Next up, we have Sam Boyd, our Director of International Sales, who's also a certified AdWords professional and has over 4 years of search marketing experience.
Good morning, everybody.
Now, for today's agenda, we're going to cover a lot. But first, we'll go over some shocking yet common problems we see in PPC accounts. We'll go over the 6 steps to achieve success in Google AdWords. We'll show you how to improve your PPC performance in just 20 minutes a week. And as I said, we'll have time for Q&A, so don't hesitate. Definitely send us your questions. Now, before we get started, we want to learn a little bit more about you so we can cater the content towards our audience today. So I'm going to launch some polls. So first up, let's see, how much time do you spend on PPC each week? Are you thinking, oh man, I'm supposed to do work in my PPC account every week? Is it less than 1 hour, 1 to 10, 10 to 39, or 40 plus? I'm going to go out there and guess that we're gonna see 10 to 39 as the average here.
Well, I think it depends. I mean, some people might think, okay, how many times do I log in and not do anything and just look at the information? And then some people go in and do actual work. So it's going to depend on the answer.
Alrighty, let's see what we got here. So it looks like the majority is doing 1 to 10 hours with a close second of less than 1.
Okay, cool.
All right, then we want to know a couple more things about you. So what's your biggest time suck in PPC management? Are you struggling with bid management, reporting and analysis, ad text, keyword research, including negative keyword research, or is it all about landing page optimization?
I think I know the answer to this one.
This one's a fun one. It's always interesting to see where people are spending the most time in their account.
All right. What do you think the answer is?
I don't know, give them two more seconds.
Okay. All right, drum roll, please. So it looks like we have keyword research as being the biggest time suck for this audience, followed by bid management, and then an equal between reporting and landing page.
That's what I was actually thinking.
All righty. Well, you're just spot on today, Tim.
I am. I'm always spot on now. All right, guys. So thank you very much for taking part in our little exercise there. We're actually going to have one more and a few more slides coming up to learn a little bit more about who the audience is today. We have a lot of information, a lot of data. Actually, we have more information and data than probably any other company in the world except for Google when it comes to paid search. And our goal is to give this back to you guys today and also show you how by taking different actions every single week, you can manage your account in 20 minutes per week when it comes to Google AdWords. But a lot of the information we get is from our free tool, the AdWords Performance Grader. I'm assuming that everybody on this call has run the free tool so far. If you haven't, I suggest you do. Like I said, it's free. It gives you an analysis of your account. It compares you against other people in your industry, in your vertical with similar spends. And you can see what's going right, what's not going right within your account. So if you're looking for more data, you're looking for more insights into how you can increase your performance, I would absolutely suggest running this grader, and you'll be able to see exactly where you are from a performance standpoint.
Yeah, and as Tim mentioned, I mean, we have more data when it comes to what makes an AdWords account successful or where people are really struggling within accounts. We've graded over 1 million graders and seen over $9 billion in ad spend. But there's a couple unique things that I guess, a lot of commonalities when we see a lot of these accounts that are coming through and are looking for kind of an overview of how their account's performing. And one of the biggest things we found is that 50% of accounts aren't getting optimized on a regular basis. And by that, obviously, as you can see here, we mean a 30-day period. And over 25% haven't been worked on in a 3-month period.
So I made that comment a little bit earlier about who's logging in and just looking at their account and spending time doing that versus who's logging in and actually taking valuable actions right in their account too.
So and one of the biggest things that we see that's impacting the overall account success or in fact hurting a lot of accounts on the other end is quality scores and how they are being managed within the account. And a lot of times people are really struggling with the account, and this kind of coincides with the first note here, but people that aren't logging in are seeing lower quality scores on their account than a lot of their competitors sometimes might have. And the thing is this, is it really hurts the overall performance of the account. We'll dive into this in a lot more detail, how quality score is looked at from Google's perspective, as well as how it impacts the success of your account. But low quality scores is something that we really have to keep an eye out for. And then the other thing that we've noticed is that 1 in 4 accounts that run the AdWords Performance Grader don't even have a negative keyword set up within their AdWords account. And as we move forward, you'll see the importance of negative keywords and really minimizing wasted spend that you might not actually realize you're spending money on. So from this perspective and what we've learned from the grader, it's vitally important to make sure we're optimizing the account, we're focusing on quality scores, and we're really making sure that there's no wasted spend that's finding its way into the actual AdWords account itself.
Yeah, and after all these years of running the AdWords account, we've come to a conclusion that small to medium-sized businesses, their AdWords accounts tend to be a train wreck. And I'm sorry if people take offense to that, but like I said, we've graded well over 1 million accounts, and it's $9 billion unique dollars in spend. Not to mention the people who opt into our tracker where they can see updates every single month coming through as well. So it's actually close to like $40 billion if you take all the accounts that we actually do grade. But we want to make sure that through this webinar, we're giving you information that you don't have to have a train wreck of an account, that there are actions you can take on a weekly basis that will boost your performance and will separate you from the competition. So I think we're actually going to launch one more questionnaire about how everybody here is approaching their PPC account, and that will give us a little bit more information as we continue on the webinar too.
Great. So just let us know how you're approaching. Are you working towards specific goals, tracking results, analyzing your data, focusing on optimizing your campaigns, or all of the above? Alrighty, let's close this out and share the results. So it looks like a large majority of our audience today is doing all of the above.
Awesome.
Which is great news.
Awesome. So that's going to launch into the next area of the webinar, where we want to start talking about the 6 steps you got to do to achieve AdWords success. Number 1, you have to have a strategy when you're managing an AdWords account. You can't just go at this blind. You really need to know what you're working towards, and instead of just throwing up keywords and ad text and hoping someone clicks on your ad, make sure that you have a plan in place even before you get started. And if you don't, you can talk to someone here to help you with that plan as well. The next step, what you want to do is you want to track results. And we're going to talk a little bit about conversion tracking as well. But if you're trying to drive telephone calls to your business, let's say you provide a service, or you want people to pick up the phone and call you, there are ways where you can track those calls, and we actually help people track it all the way down to the keyword level to make sure that you're bidding on the right words that are providing business for yourself. If you're e-commerce, you want to know what keywords are driving sales to you and how much revenue is coming from that sale. That is possible. You need to do that. Next step is you need to analyze that data. The biggest issue that I see, and I've been in PPC for 10 years, the biggest issue I see when it comes to business owners or anybody really managing an AdWords account is being able to read data and analyze data. And then the next step from there is you have to optimize the data. It's this analyze to optimize that where people have these big time issues because they don't know how to read through the data and see trends, and then being able to increase their performance from that data. So hopefully some of the things we show you today can help you there. You also want to have multiple channels. You don't want to just rely on one piece of the internet to provide business for yourself, because everybody searches differently. Sam might go on Google. I might go to Bing. Callie might be influenced by ads that she's seeing on Facebook. And everybody else might see an ad when they jump on Twitter that has them go back to their desktop to do a search on the Google machine, on the SERP page. So make sure that you're getting in front of everybody as possible. Before we do that, we want to make sure that we're conquering Google, and then we can scale and expand from there. The next step to have success is make sure you're utilizing a third-party tool. And the reason I say that is because your competitors are absolutely utilizing a third-party tool, whether that's Excel, whether that's WordStream, whether that's anything that they can get their hands on, SpyFu, Keyword Spy, it doesn't matter. There are tools out there that can help you read through the data and see more trends than what you're seeing directly into the Google page in the back end and analytics. So these are the things that we know people who are achieving success are doing in Google AdWords. Hopefully what we're going to show you can open up your eyes a little bit to see how you can do that as well.
Yeah, so obviously after having a bit of a strategy moving forward with your AdWords account, the biggest thing that we see is a lot of people are not actually tracking their conversions within their account. And so when we talk about conversions, it gets back to having goals and then being able to actually track those goals within your AdWords account. So 50% of businesses that we're seeing through these graders don't have a conversion set up or some sort of point in their funnel online that they're tracking as a point of success. So if you're an e-commerce business, it might be that point where somebody checks out and physically gives you their credit card, and we can track that as a conversion. If you're looking to generate leads, it could be that point when somebody fills out their information and submits it to you, or even picks up the phone and gives you a call. We want to make sure that we always have a bottom of the funnel tracking point in order to mark these conversions moving forward. So one of the big things with that as well is there's a couple different ways we can do this. And as I mentioned, as Tim mentioned before, we need to make sure that we're covering all of our bases here. So if you think about the types of businesses that are out there, whether it's your client or it's your specific business, there's a lot of goals that people have in mind, whether it's an online form, whether it's a purchase, whether it's actually somebody even picking up the phone and giving you a call. The goal is that whenever somebody takes that desired action, let's be able to attribute that all the way back to the effort that you put into paid search and the keyword that drove them there. That way we can move forward from there and start to understand how people are influenced by your keywords and your ads, and how we can recreate more of these successful terms and ads in there.
Cool. Let's move on to analyzing some of the data as well. So we already touched on quality score and why that's important, or I guess we kind of teased it a little bit. But essentially, quality score is the most important factor when it comes to achieving success with AdWords. And really, you can just call that relevancy. How relevant are you to the search that's being conducted on the Google search page? So quality score, and I believe we're actually going to get into how that's calculated in a little bit, but quality score, it's really going to determine where you're showing up the page, how much you're paying per click, and how much you're paying to acquire a new customer. And Google looks at this, and the reason Google's been able to become Google is because that's what they care about, right? They want to give the person searching the best user experience that they can. And that means driving the most relevant ad directly in front of that person's face. So make sure you're relevant. Make sure that you're taking all the steps you need in order to increase that relevancy. Because the higher quality scores increase your ad rank, they increase your impressions, and they lower your cost per click. And here's how Google is actually looking at your quality score. They want you to be above 7. Right? That seems to be the line of demarcation right there that they drew in the sand. Everything above there is being able to get some discounts when it comes to advertising on Google. When you start moving below that 7, now we're moving into actually paying premiums on our clicks, meaning we're having to pay more than our competitors are for people coming to our website. One tool that you can use to actually see where is my account quality score is the Google AdWords performance grader, the WordStream Google AdWords performance grader that we talked about earlier. See where you are, because you can actually speak with one of the reps here at WordStream, and they'll tell you on average how much you're paying more per click than you really need to.
Yeah, and the interesting with that is it obviously drives success, but you need to be managing your account in order to make sure you have the best quality scores that you can physically have in there in order to achieve these benefits. But what we've found, and really this is something that Google's come to us and told us over and over again, that out of the billions of searches that are done every day worldwide on Google, up to 20% of them are actually unique. So people are always adopting in the way that they're searching for your services or they're searching for your product. So we need to be able to stay updated within the AdWords account and focus on, the new terms and building our quality scores on the terms that people are searching for.
Yeah, the latest stat that I heard is that every day there's about 4 billion searches, 4 to 5 billion searches that happen on Google every single day, which means something like 800 million to 1 billion are searches that Google's never seen before, right? So what does that mean to you? That means that you've probably never seen these searches either. So if you're not analyzing that traffic and analyzing those search queries, bad things could happen, meaning that it could run havoc on your account. You could be paying for clicks that have nothing to do with your business, nothing, right? So we're wasting money there. The second thing that could happen is if you're getting irrelevant impressions, and this is actually going into the next slide, if you're getting irrelevant impressions, that's going to drive down your click-through rate.
Yeah, and that really gets from the analyzing the data within the account with all those searches directly into the optimized stage. So we've talked about quality score for a bit, but it's always important for people to understand really what Google's looking at when it comes to determining your quality score. So as you see the pie chart on the left, the biggest factor that Google looks at in regards to your quality score is how strong is your click-through rate. And they look at that and they see that as being a factor in how relevant you are directly back to Google's clients, which are the searchers. They want to give them the best and sleekest experience they can, and that's why we all go back to Google when we're looking to either ask a question or look for a product. The next most important thing is how well does your ad actually speak to the keyword. So we have a really good example up here. I'm sure a lot of people on the call are familiar with Zappos, online shoe store. I don't think they even have a brick and mortar presence anywhere, but unreal AdWords account and unreal quality scores, and they're always ranking, extremely high. It's because if you look at the search term, men's leather shoes, size 9, they speak directly back to that term. So by doing that, they're able to increase their click-through rate. Their ad text relevancy is through the roof, and if you click on that ad, you're going to be sent to a page that's leather shoes for men that are all size 9. So by having these relevant ad texts and making sure your ads speak directly to your keywords, you're going to increase your click-through rate, which in return is going to improve your quality score. And actually what we're going to dive into right here is how it actually impacts your cost per click.
We should update this slide with an ETA.
We should, yeah, with some of the Google's new ad formatting, which is really cool. So
which will also help your quality score.
And you can see how your ETAs are stacked up and how well you are in regards to converting over on our AdWords performance.
Run the grader because it has ETA information on there too. All right, go ahead.
So here's the really interesting thing that a lot of people overlook when it comes to the success of their AdWords account and how important quality score really is. So if you look at how your quality score impacts your cost per click, once you're in that upper tier of that 8, 9, and 10, you're going to start seeing cheaper cost per clicks in comparison to your competitors. So the issue, obviously, on the inverse side is that once you start falling into this, 5, 6, and below, your budget isn't going nearly as far as it should be because you're overpaying per click than you really have to, because Google deems you less relevant once your quality score falls down. But when you have a high quality score, Google is willing to reward you to continue to give people that amazing experience with cheaper cost per clicks. So if you think about it, once we get into that 7 through 10 quality score range, your budget's going to go a lot further because your clicks are going to be cheaper, your ads are going to rank higher, and in return, that actual cost, that monetary value that you spend on AdWords, it's going to cost you less and less to get the desired conversions that you're looking for. So in summary, a little bit about quality score, unfortunately, oftentimes it's overlooked by advertisers, especially in the SMB space. But what we found is that people that are successful, that are able to grow their accounts and improve their conversions and their cost per acquisition, are consistently looking at that quality score as a measuring stick to how successful they can be. And the better that quality score gets, the more successful we see AdWords accounts.
Cool, awesome. And so just to get back to the 6 steps, guys, 1, have a strategy. 66% of you guys do. Awesome. Track your results. Again, 66% track your results. You can see what keywords drive you business. It is available to you. If you need help, we can help you there. Analyze and optimize your data. Again, probably the most important part of managing an AdWords account right there. Most people don't know how to do that. Hopefully what we're going to get into next is really going to help you there. Expand, right? Don't just rely on Google. It's the most expensive place to drive conversions to your business. Get into Bing, get into Facebook, get into Twitter, get into LinkedIn if it's applicable to you. There are multiple ways to drive lower conversions, but don't ever not rely on Google because they're fantastic. Third-party tools. Again, all your competitors are using them. I would suggest looking into them if that's in your wheelhouse.
There's a lot of great free tools out there that are going to give you direction as to how to improve your account and the success that you're going to see through AdWords. Obviously, our favorite here is the the AdWords Performance Grader, which was going to give you a great overview as to how everything is going. So we'll make sure we have that link sent out to everybody if you haven't run it so far.
Awesome. So now we're going to dig into how to improve your PPC performance in only 20 minutes per week. So we're going to show you guys the most important actions that you can take every single week within your account. We're going to utilize the WordStream software just because it's going to be a lot easier than actually going into an AdWords account and showing you how to take these actions. But make sure that you have a pen and a piece of paper and you're writing down all of these 5 to 6 actions you can take. Okay?
So one of the first things that we look at when we dive into the 20-minute work week in regards to being successful with the AdWords account is negative keywords. So we want to make sure that on a regular basis, as we mentioned before, that over half of accounts don't have negative keywords in their account. But this is something, it's kind of like mowing the lawn. You can go cut the grass, but if you leave it for a month or two, it's just going to continue to grow. So you need to be in there consistently, making sure you're adding negative keywords in order to mitigate the wasted spend, help you improve your quality scores, and really make sure that spend is being spent on the terms that are driving you better conversions and more success.
Yeah, I've never seen an account that didn't have wasted spend, right? And I know that WordStream has kind of coined that term, wasted spend, but essentially keywords in your account that are not relevant to you that you're spending money on. So think of it that way. Now what we're doing is we're trying to help people understand that you can reallocate this spend, right? You can target this spend and give it to different areas of your account that are performing. So that's a benefit with the negative keywords. Also another benefit too, and think of it from a quality score perspective. Quality score is clicks divided by impressions, right? Which is click-through rate. If click-through rate makes up 65% of quality score calculation, let's cut out all of these terrible impressions, right? God forbid they click in your ad. But we want to make sure that you're not showing up for these terms that they're not relevant, which will in turn increase your cost per click. So let's make sure we're bringing down our cost per click and reallocating the waste in your account.
Now what we can do once we find that wasted spend, we uncover it and we make sure we basically stop the bleeding where it is when it comes to spending that money on negative terms or wasted spend. We can reallocate that money towards terms that are driving us conversions that we're not yet bidding on or we don't have in our account. So when it comes to adding keywords, we talked about earlier how over 20% of Google searches that they see are unique to Google. So let's make sure that we're bringing in the terms that people are physically searching within AdWords or on Google that are applicable to your business and are potentially already driving you success. You know, they might just be matching into your AdWords account. So by bringing in these terms that people are searching, now we have so much more control over them. We can have a bidding structure behind them. And the biggest thing is we can start to obtain a quality score for those terms. So if it's a great long tail keyword that we're finding, we're able to bring it into the account, your quality score is going to be higher. Your cost per click is going to be lower, and you're going to actually be able to increase your impression share on that term.
Yeah, I wish we had another questionnaire here to see, okay, how many people have actually added in the search query, or the keywords that Google is giving you the new keyword ideas. Those aren't search queries. Those are just Google's ideas of what might be relevant to your business. Don't do that. You can dig deeper. You can dig into the query stream, the search query report, I'm sorry. We call it the query stream on our side. And you can see what your actual customers or what your actual prospects are using to find your business and how they're interacting with your ads. These are the most relevant keywords that you can add into your account. Make sure that we're looking at this on a weekly basis to keep up with the trends of your prospects. And you think back to the negatives, we're killing those keywords, right? And we're adding in these new keyword ideas that people are actually using to find your company. Now, what is that going to do? They're usually longer tailed. Okay, so they're going to be a little bit less expensive. They're going to be a little bit more qualified because they know exactly what they're looking for. They have interacted with your ad in the past, or maybe they did not. So hopefully they have some, if they come back and use the same search term again, they can see your ad and they've seen it before. Another thing what it's going to do as well, it's going to increase your quality score. Because we're not bidding on that term, we're not getting any quality score credit from Google. So let's enter into the auction market for it. Let's lower our cost per click. Let's get a little bit cheaper of a term, which is going to help you drive down your cost per acquisition.
Yeah, and so it's vitally important when it comes to making sure you have a successful AdWords account is keeping up to date with the searches that people are searching. One of the other major factors we talked about when it came to improving quality score, we talked so much about click-through rate and how that's such a big piece of the pie when it comes to having strong quality scores across the account. One of the things that oftentimes, unfortunately, we learn is slightly overlooked is really phase 2 of that, which is making sure we have as relevant as ads as possible. We can have the best keywords in the world and really limit the amount of negatives or wasted spend that's coming through an account or even shut it down completely. But if we don't have our ads speaking directly back to the terms, or if we're not testing out ads for the purpose of seeing which one's performing better with the clientele and what they're searching, you're really falling short of making sure you're going to improve things from a quality score perspective. So if we're able to present you ads on a weekly basis that are potentially underperforming from a click-through rate or have a lower than average conversion rate, how can we start working with the data within the account in order to have those ads speak much more directly to the actual terms people are searching and try something out? Let's try something new. Let's see if people react differently. And we can always have a process in place to consistently be looking to improve things like our click-through rate and our ad relevancy.
Yep, and let's optimize some bids. So I know some people on here, they're optimizing bids on a weekly basis. Fantastic. Let's make sure that when we optimize bids, it's for a reason, right? Not just because we feel like optimizing a bid, right? We feel like increasing or decreasing. Or if we have a low click, make sure there's a reason behind it, okay? So what we want to make sure is when we tell people to optimize a bid, it's because the performance of that keyword. Maybe it has a great quality score. Let's boost it a little bit and get better page positioning and a lower cost per click. Maybe if we're tracking conversions, it has a great CPA or a great click-through rate. Let's get more people coming through that ad and coming through that keyword at a lower cost so that we can get more conversions. So just make sure we have a game plan in place when we go and we check our bids, whether we're increasing or decreasing them.
So, and then one of the biggest things we want to make sure too is that we're always aware of terms that are potentially spending more than we would like to see. So if you have terms that are generating conversions for you, but at higher cost than the campaign level average. So if you have a keyword that's converting at a much higher cost than average, let's make sure that we're aware of these things and then start to take action on them. One of the things we always recommend is giving it a little personal TLC and working on improving the quality score behind some of those terms. Let's see if we can drive down some of the cost per clicks in order to bring that CPA back into check. Or oftentimes what a lot of people will talk about is the peel and stick method, which is let's give that term its own ad group and its own ad and give it all the attention in the world. And sometimes it might not be able to convert at a cost that is acceptable for the business or for the account, and you have to be willing to turn that off. But let's make sure we give it the attention it needs in order to start driving those cost per acquisitions down and make sure that we're still able to take on those specific conversions from those terms.
All right, so if there's 5 things that you guys can do on a weekly basis, it's those 5 things. I hope everyone took out a pen and piece of paper and wrote it down. And you'll get better and better every single week, trust me, when we're adding those in.
Yeah, and the great thing about, so our 20-minute work week, which everybody can go try out, we have a free trial of our software. You can actually load your account in, you can check out the grader, then pull it directly into a trial and see what we would present you for your specific account. Now, obviously, we're not diving into your account on the call here today, but we do have a team that's able to go through your account, create a bit of a game plan, and show you where the potential is and how a process like this might actually impact the success of your account.
Right. So, guys, think about what we talked about already, right? We talked about tracking conversions. We showed you guys the importance of tracking those conversions. We talked about analyzing and optimizing the data. We showed you the WordStream 20-minute PPC work week. Now we're moving into knowing how you're performing, right, from the reporting aspect of this. Really, really important to know exactly what is working and what is not working. Again, that's really in that analyze, optimize area of the 6 things that we need to be doing. So if you look at what is up on the screen here, on the left-hand side, that's actually the WordStream call tracking platform where you can see who called you, what keyword, what campaign, what ad group drove that call, what was the actual match type, a recording of that call, the person's name, and you essentially have a call CRM that you can access anytime. And on the right-hand side, that's more of the AdWords reporting aspect of it, where you can see how is my account actually performing from a data standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about making sure we have goals with the AdWords account, but let's make sure we're also looking at a decent chunk of time and reporting back on those goals. So this way you can reset your goals moving forward for the next week, the next month, whatever it is, but you can see where your account is progressing, also maybe some areas you might want to spend a little bit more time in.
Yeah, and then we move into using different channels to drive conversions or business yourself. Something like Facebook, right? Facebook is becoming huge, right? That's the next big frontier, I guess, right? From a paid search perspective, you can do some amazing things with Facebook. A couple things that we help people out with here is through our tool, you can see what the traffic looks like that you're driving through Google, right, or into your website. And then what we're doing on our side is we're helping our customers get back in front of those people who are not converting through Facebook, getting the ads in front of them, and then building lists off of people who are like them, where they can get their ads in front of more and more people who are like their site visitors.
Yeah, the interesting thing about how we approach Facebook is it really complements the work that a lot of you guys are doing through AdWords already. So what we've found through our AdWords performance creators is that, on average, 97% of traffic that comes through to a website is not converting initially. So we've already paid for that traffic, and it should really be qualified traffic. Google's the #1 visited website in the world, and right behind it is Facebook. So how can we start using Facebook in order to continue to bring back those people that we've paid for, we've deemed relevant to our account, and start converting at extremely low cost? And then what's really neat, and for some of you I'm sure have dove into Facebook a bit already, is that some of the targeting options and some of the audiences are very different. And what we're able to do is essentially do a lot of the learning and a lot of the prescribing of actions for you, so that we can learn if you have a group of customers that are converting from these terms, let's go find 20,000 other people that might be out there and start to present to them in an extremely efficient and cheap manner. So there's a lot of really neat work that you can do when you start and you set up your campaigns for Google AdWords to be successful, but then scaling out to other channels. Like Microsoft is a wonderful channel. It's a bit cheaper than Google, and Facebook is right there with it as well. So in summary, when we talk about the accounts that we see, the graders that we see, and the data we've analyzed, what we've really found is that, unfortunately, the truth is a lot of the accounts that we see come through, there's some gaping holes in the account that are causing the account to either spend too much money, frustrate people because they're not seeing the results that they're looking to obtain through their spend, and the accounts are really just not set up for success or ongoing success. So by having, a plan, setting goals, analyzing the data, optimizing the data, and really using the tools that are out there for you, let's work on making every account just a bit more successful on a regular basis.
Cool. I've already said the 6 steps, but I'll say it one more time just in case nobody was listening to me. 1, you want to track your results, right? 2, you want to have conversion tracking, which same thing, right? Or excuse me. 1, you want to have goals. 2, you want to track your results. 3, you want to analyze. 4, you want to optimize. 5, you want to use different channels. 6, you want to use third-party tools.
Yeah, and then obviously one of the big things we found is that activity drives success. Now, you can't be active in your account and be doing the wrong things and be negatively impacting your account. You want to make sure that we're looking at the right areas like we discussed in the 20-minute work week, but by logging into your account and proactively making changes to impact your account, you'll start to see more success.
Awesome, and just a little bit about us. We're talking about what you can do to achieve success with Google AdWords. With our customers, they can manage your accounts in Facebook, in Bing, and Google, all in one place. You have a centralized dashboard. You can easily take these actions in 20 minutes per week. All right, so we do have a couple of offers for people. That was a lot of information we just gave you guys. If you want to get a free demo of how you can manage your account in 20 minutes a week with our software, more than happy to do that. If you would just like an AdWords assessment with one of our experts on our side, totally cool. We'd love to spend a little bit of time with you and learn more about what your goals are in your business and see if there's anything we can help with. If you don't need any help with your PPC, awesome, you're a rock star, congratulations. A couple reminders for everybody. Run the AdWords Performance Grader, see exactly how you're scoring. 2, I would sign up for the free trial. You can see if you can manage your account 20 minutes a week. The really cool part about that is you can see how much money you're actually wasting in your account, so get in that. And then the third thing is Sam and I can stick around for a few questions for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. So if anybody has any questions, go for it. Sign up for put your question right into the question box, and we'll try to get to it.
Great, thanks guys. First up, can you talk a little bit more about the grader and say it's an agency that wants to use it for their clients or whatnot? Can you just talk about the security of it?
Yeah, so we work through Google's API and their tokening system. So from an agency perspective, if you have access to your client's account or prospect's account and run the AdWords performance grader, your client will never know that the grader has been run on the account. So they're not going to get a warning. That grader will actually stay specifically with you, but as long as you have access into that, your clients will be none the wiser.
Yeah, and just a quick tip too, if you're going to run it, if you're an agency, you're going to run it with your client's information. Just put your information in there in the form, Tim Warner Agency, your phone number, your email address, and then all you need is just your client's ID and you can run the account.
Cool. Next up, how often should one do PPC reporting?
Google lives on like a 30-day basis, and I think the world, the online world, lives in a 30-day. So we suggest to people, if you're going to test something, if you're going to report on something, let it run for 30 days, take a look back, analyze, optimize, give it another 30 days.
Yeah, don't be afraid to track your success on a weekly basis, but wait for that bigger chunk of time to make directional changes.
Cool. So this person says, when I try long tail keywords, Google usually says it's a low search volume. So should I be concerned about this?
Yeah, I would say you shouldn't. I mean, if you think about it from Google's perspective, they're trying to get as many keywords in your account that are going to drive searches. Google's wonderful, and we love, obviously, what they provide for us as advertisers and as a business and things like that. And they solve so many problems in the world. They're finding answers or finding products, but they do collect the revenue at the end of the day as well. So if you're able to have long-tail keywords that are extremely specific that might not be searched as much, I wouldn't say that's a bad thing, because when those searches come along, you're going to be in the best position to obtain the click. You're going to have great cost per click. So you're going to have a great quality score. And likely with long-tail keywords, it's a much more qualified searcher. You know, if somebody's looking for shoes, we have no idea what they want. But if somebody's looking for men's leather boat shoes size 9, we know specifically what they want, and they're probably a lot further down the buying funnel.
All right, great. So this is a question about negative keywords. So if this person doesn't want to drive traffic for the keyword house for sale, but wants to get more specific, saying house for sale Montreal, does the fact that the house for sale being a negative keyword, will that affect the impression for house for sale Montreal?
No, so you're able to work with match types on your negative keywords as well, just like you are with the keywords in your account. So you would be able to set something like house for sale as an exact match negative, because you might find that term too broad. Yet the term house for sale is going to be in your search query, house for sale in Montreal. Your terms are still going to show for that. And in fact, it's a very responsible way about setting negatives with a specific match type, but also at a specific location. Our negative keyword alert is, I think, second to none when it comes to finding negative keywords at the ad group level and giving you the specific match types that you need and having a strategy there. But by no means will that impact the success of what could be a great term like house for sale in Montreal.
Cool. How much time should you give a keyword to perform before you rate it as poor? Is there a recommended time frame?
Again, I mean, it's a lot of that depends. That's a really tough question, actually. You know, we talk about giving it 30 days. I'd be looking at, it depends on what you're looking at, right? If it's bringing conversions, keep going with it, right? Even if it's bringing conversions and has a poor click-through rate or a poor quality score, but you're making money from that keyword, keep going with it, right? But if it's not bringing you anything, if it's a terrible click-through rate, if it's a low quality score, if it's no conversions, yeah, maybe a 30-day window is enough. But a lot of that comes down to impression share as well, right? And you have to think, okay, how many people are actually typing in this keyword on a 30-day window, or even if maybe it's a 90-day window, right, or a year window. So a lot of that normalizes with impression share and impressions. I've heard a lot of people, including our founder, Larry Kim, you can make a lot of assumptions and you can come to a lot of you can really see a lot when a keyword has about 1,000 impressions on it, and then you can take action from there.
Great. So this is about, think about companies that people might be doing research about them before actually converting. So if people click an ad but if they don't convert, maybe they don't remember that they clicked it in the past, what can be done to track those sales?
So, sorry, I'm trying to understand the question, I guess, a little bit better.
So I can read the whole question for you. So regarding tracking, we sell Spanish language courses in Costa Rica. So we know that customers might take a little bit longer before making a decision. Maybe they're just doing some research. But sometimes it might take months after initial research to reach out to us. But they clicked an ad in the get-go, but then maybe they pick up the phone to call a few months later. Is there a way to track those sales?
Yeah, so that's tricky when the sales cycle gets to such a long point in time where we start losing some of the tracking capabilities. I would want to make sure of a couple of different things. One, you're utilizing things like remarketing, so then we can track in analytics things like view-through conversions. Two, you want to have a proper attribution model set up for a sales cycle like that so that you can at least report back to the original source of where this prospect and sale came from. Unfortunately, within AdWords, there's a limited window to really reporting that conversion directly back to the specific click. But there's a lot that you can do as long as your kind of whole marketing channel is speaking very well to each other. I would actually implore the person who asked that question. We have worked with very similar businesses to give us a call, and we can talk in much greater detail regarding how we help people in very similar positions create the proper attribution model so they can track that success.
Great, thanks so much. Awesome. Well, that concludes our webinar today. We really thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. And again, just as a reminder, we will be sending out the recording and the slides